Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by COACH Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is sponsored by Well-Stoned Landscapes. From lawn to luxury, creating outdoor elegance. Well-Stoned Landscapes covers most areas of Yorkshire. If you mention the Ramble when asking for a quote, you'll receive 10% off any work. Call Paul or find him on Facebook in the details below. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I'm, of course, Jimmy, and this is the warm-up. I want to thank all of our sponsors, which you can see below. And you may notice a new one here. A new one. That's Match Bingo. And thank you to the guys at Match Bingo for supporting the Ramble. Here's a little bit more about them. Thank you to today's sponsor, Match Bingo, that combines the beautiful game that we all love with the old classic bingo game. You sign up on the app, get yourself a bingo card or two, watch your cards fill up in real time as you check off, throw in a goal, a red card. As soon as you get a line, if you're the first to do it, you'll win. And if you get a full house, you get the special prize. Make sure you get your bingo card for the next Blades game. There's over £200,000 been paid out to players so far. Thank you to Match Bingo for their support, and please gamble responsibly. I had not heard of this concept prior to yesterday. And then after speaking to the guys at Match Bingo who got in touch with us and having a look at it, I'm really excited. I've purchased a couple of bingo cards already, and we'll go through it like on the 90 after 90 and things like that. But also when we're doing watch-alongs and stuff, we can be ticking off stuff like that. So if you're interested, there's the QR code there to get into it. And also the links in the description, as is the links for all of our sponsors. Thank you to everybody. You'll also see Triple Point and Selena there. Triple Point, the old guard, we will be there pre-match. Well, we won't be this weekend because it's an away game, but every home game we're there pre-match. Selena as well. In fact, I had a great weekend last against Coventry. We're just out for ages. Shout out to the Ramblers that joined us. So how are we all doing? Whew, it's another game. It's another game. We've currently, you know where we are. We're top of the league. How long for? Probably not that long, considering we play third out of all three teams in and around. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I'm getting dodgy messages here as well at the wrong time. So let's hear a little bit about it's thrown me that I can't tell you what the message is because it's something completely different, but we've got no Ramble on the we've got no Ramble rundown today. So no opposition view. We will be getting a view from the mountain probably tomorrow, maybe Thursday, depending on the Man Mountain's availability. So that is something that we'll be looking forward to in terms of getting to know Oxford a little bit more. I will let down by one of the Oxford channels, unfortunately, but these things happen. We are busy people. I understand that. That'll then be followed on Friday. I assume it'll be Friday. We've got to sort of edges bets on when Chrissy Wilder will be doing his press conference. But whenever he does, we will be here for Hot Off the Presser. And then we're following up the game, the big game, with 90 after 90 on Saturday. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure. In fact, yeah, let's confirm it. We'll do a watch along as well, I think, for Burnley Cov or Leeds Luton. Let me know in the comments which you prefer, and we'll get into that. But also, I want to know your teams. What teams are you going to play? Do you keep it unchanged? I've released my team already on Behind the Ramble. I know some people have gone over and had a look at that. Thank you for checking that out also. But I don't know. It's a 3-game week coming up. I'll let you know in Born to be Wilder very shortly where my thoughts are. Jamie Dumpling starts us off in the comments tonight by saying, sorry. I think he means he's sorry because he can't do a Ramble on the road because he couldn't get an Oxford ticket. If anybody's got an Oxford ticket that Jamie Dumpling can take, or anybody's selling an Oxford ticket, he is willing to pay, good money for it, he told me. Obviously, we don't do fellow blades over, do we? But if there's one available, Jamie would like it. Don't worry, Jamie. We don't have to do a ramble on the road for every single game. It is what it is. I appreciate you putting the effort in, pal. Matthew says, congratulations, Jimmy, because on becoming #1 in the Blades YouTube channels, fully deserved. Keep up the good work, Jimmy, up the ramble. Thank you, Matthew. I mean, there's different metrics in there to measure, but we are, again, the most viewed Blades channel, and that is thanks to you guys. I don't control any of that. So thank you to everybody that supports the Ramble. Just liking, subscribing, sharing the videos. If you like what we do, I actively encourage feedback, not on the first 5 minutes of today's Ramble, because I don't know what we're going on with me throwing myself off. But if you like what we do, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. It's completely free. You don't have to commit to anything. If you want to go the extra mile, the option is there. But absolutely love everybody that stops by and has a chat with us about all things Sheffield United. Matthew says, sorry for messaging so early. I've got to take the girlfriend out shopping. Oh, mate, I'm so sorry. Hope you come back with some cash left, but have a good time all the same. Nick Cook, Ramble Royalty. I would like to see Cannon start. I think we need to see what he's made of. But do we risk not starting Ty, who's on fire right now? Like, I'll be honest, I considered starting Tom Cannon. And if it had been Oxford at home, I think I'm much more likely to start Tom Cannon. But with it being away, I think we go with our strongest side personally. And look, I'll come to my team very shortly. Matthew says, only change I would make would be O'Hare for Brewster. Why? What? And look, I think O'Hare's a better player than Brewster, but why would you make that change when Brewster scored in the last 2 games? And keep Sousa on the bench. Not a bad sub to come on later in the game. And I don't know what all the fuss is about over the Pigs owner. He's doing a super job. Nick would also start holding for Robbo. Okay, Maury says he's been waiting for this. Top man Maury, who did our last Ramble on the road against Coventry. Go and check that out if you haven't already. Thank you, Maury. That's on Behind the Ramble. Behind the Blades. What is going on with me tonight? Hey, he says, Harry. Oops. Evening, pal. Hope you well. I'm good, thank you, Liam. I hope you are too, pal. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. Evening, Ramblers. Agree with your Born to be Wilder team. This lineup is clicking. Keep it together. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Good to see you doing well, Jimbo, mate. Thank you, Juki. I appreciate it, pal. We're grinding, mate. It's I was saying to somebody the other day when we were talking about it, I'm doing more hours than I've ever done in a working week now. And you won't think it. People don't always see what goes on behind the scenes and all this sort of stuff. And but it's not work, is it? It's not work when I know that there's loads of people that would kill to be doing what I'm doing. So I am so appreciative. I jump out of bed in the morning. It's the first thing I think about. Well, after me, wife and kids, I have to get that caveat in. After my wife and kids, it's the first thing I'm thinking about in the morning and the last thing at night. It consumes me in terms of getting better all the time. And if we can get that 1% better all the time and just continue to grow, then that's the aim, isn't it? Go, Jimmy. Big things now, lad, says Maury. Thank you, pal. Hi, Jimmy. Hope you're well. I agree with Mr. Cook. It will be an ideal game to give Holding more minutes. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe, says Craigo. Nige says, evening, Jimmy and fellow Ramblers. What a positive week in a feel-good mood, as all of us Blades surely are. Apart from my kidney. Oh, mate, sorry. But a quick question, have our players been paid? I believe they have. Nige. Look, all joking aside about the Chef Wednesday thing, and I know, listen, all banter is on the table. This is not a no banter zone. It's a case you can have a friendly pop at whoever you want. I do feel for it's come out today, which it wasn't known yesterday, but the staff have been affected as well. The staff haven't been paid their wages. It's all right and it's never all right. It's never all right to not pay wages. But you would assume, and it's only an assumption because some might not be in this position, but you would think that Barry Bannon might be all right to not pick up his 30 grand a week 1 week, or however it's paid to him. So not that it's right that he's not paid it. My point is, I don't think he'll be struggling. But the chef and the people behind the scenes, the receptionists and the lads and lasses that help, get things ready for a match day, the staff need paying. And no matter what we think of them as a club, they are people from Sheffield, from the surrounding area. And you never want anybody to be hard done by in your own area, do you? So football, there's more to life than football, and I think that it's a really poor do what he's been doing there. And look, I don't want him to have any success on the pitch at all. I'm not one of these that thinks they should be liquidated, but if they drop down to League Two, I'll be laughing my head off. What I don't want is people, and nobody does. I'm not saying anybody in comments does either, but I think it's right to say nobody wants anybody to be struggling, do they? I like the sound of the match bingo. Makes the watch-alongs more interactive. Great idea, Jimmy. To be honest, pal, it was something that was pitched to me, and then like I always try and do, because this will be for anybody that can afford it and wants to do it. It's completely optional. There's obviously no pressure to do anything that you don't want to do ever. But I was a little bit, I don't know. It's technically it's gambling, isn't it? But I think it's a couple of quid for a bingo card. I thought I'll give it a go, and I like that sort of stuff. I was doing Football Index before it all went bang, so I quite like that thing as well personally. So we'll give it a go, mate, and hopefully people will enjoy it. From what I've seen, it looks a lot of fun. It does look a lot of fun, but you've got to make sure you're sensible with it, and I understand that. Liam says, "Evening, pal. Hope you're well. I will go and change for Saturday, and hoping Vinny's back on the bench. I think we'll win comfortably 2-0. Campbell and Hamer to score. Up all the Rambles. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, mate." Carl says, "What's up, Jimmy? I just wanted to take the time to thank you. I love all the content. I have really struggled with my mental health the past 6 months. Being part of the Ramble really has helped. Thank you." Carl, thank you, mate. These messages mean more than you will know, because I've been there. I still am there at times. The group, and not just the group, and it's not a case of you have to be a Rambler to have this support. The community here, I mean, I don't believe you're a Rambler, Carl, but you're coming on and you feel comfortable talking about, and this, we're parking football for a second, aren't we? And apologies to those that are here just for footy chat, but this is more important to me. You feel comfortable enough to come on and say how you're feeling, and I think that is one of the biggest first hurdles you can get over. So thank you so much for sharing, Carl. It's nothing to thank me about. I think we thank everybody in the community that makes it such an open place to come and feel comfortable. So yeah, thank you, mate, for sharing. And I hope that you turn in a corner. And if what we do on the channel, me and everybody else that appears on the channel, makes you smile, then absolutely brilliant. I love that. I love that even more. But always here, mate. If you need me, my DMs are open on every platform, to be fair. So just give us a shout. And that goes for anybody as well. Nige says, going to be even more tough. The games coming up to the end of the season now. Fitness levels, places to play for. Games will open up. But I think we have the best mentality in the league. Wins count proves it. That were part of our big conversation with Connor and Joe. I agree. I completely agree that we have the strongest mentality. And we said that before all these results the previous weekend. Burnley have got a strong mentality as well. You can't take anything away from Burnley. But my point was that my concern about Leeds, and it's not really a concern, but I thought their vulnerability was their mentality. And they've drawn a game that they should have won. Let's be right. I'm not saying on the performance they should have won, but if you look at every metric on paper, they should be winning that game fairly comfortably, and they didn't. And you've got to question the mentality for that. We've got some videos coming out, myself and Connor, this week on both channels, separate content, but on both channels. So give that a watch. Keep it Ramble. Get the notification bell on if you haven't already, and hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. Roy the Crinthos Blade says, "I'm now feeling like the 100-point season in League One. Chris will not let standards drop and will be pushing us to the title. I'd be more comfortable if we were out on his own like we were then, Roy, but, we'll see. We'll see." Dukey says, "Don't watch Leeds, please." I think I'm going to watch the Burnley-Coventry game, because I think Coventry have got a real chance, or Coventry-Burnley game, should I say. So the plan is, myself and Jord Motson will get together and watch the games. Jord, I'm going to ask you to watch Leeds, I think, pal, and I will watch Burnley at the same time. And then Jord will keep us posted on what's happening at Leeds, and I will be on screen with our countdown timer. Oh, we're proper professional now. Proper professional. It's only taken us, over 2 years to get a timer and a scoreboard, but it's harder than you think. All right, harder than you think. So, yeah, I'll be watching Cov Burnley, because It's my channel, and I don't want to watch Leeds. Unchanged, says Roy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble, like and subscribe. Unchanged team for me. Everybody giving their teams. So if you haven't already seen it, here is mine with a little bit of Born to be Wilder.
Born to be wild.
Tell.
So this is Born to be Wilder, and this is my team to go to Oxford, and I'm going to say try and get back on top of the league, because we can't guarantee that Leeds or Burnley won't do the business. In fact, we've got to assume that they do. And a bonus, isn't it, if either of them slips up. But this is going to be my team to go back top of the Championship by getting a tough 3 points at the Kassam Stadium on Saturday, starting out with the main man, the goalkeeper, the man that I owe a huge apology to. I cannot believe I doubted whether he was human or not. Turns out he's not human after all. I thought he might have dropped one against Coventry in the dying minutes. Turns out he was fouled. And he is superhuman after all. The best goalkeeper in the Championship. It is the one and only Michael Cooper. And in front of him, at right back, the very impressive Femi Siriki. And I say impressive for more than one reason. We've talked about his physical attributes and what he brings to you going forward. I think some of his question marks can be defensively. I think sometimes he gets a little bit nervy on the ball. But he has answered every question that's been put to him. I think despite him looking shaky at times in the early stages against Coventry, it was the same against Sheffield Wednesday. They targeted him too. The mental strength that this lad shows to come through that sort of scrutiny is incredible. So Femi Siriki has earned his place at right back, and is he now going to be our starting right back for the remainder of the season, should he stay fit? Next to Femi is Anel Ahmedhodzic. I thought he had an absolutely incredible game against Coventry. I think he's gone under the radar in terms of how well he played. It's a very good time for Anel to be hitting form, if that is indeed what's happening, because I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch. He was my man of the match against Coventry on Friday night, and hopefully he can put in a similar performance against Oxford. Next to him is the captain, Jack Robinson. I know people know exactly what I think about Jackie Longthrow in terms of him being our third best centre-half. I'm not one of these that will jump on and jump off to an opinion or not give you an opinion. You know how I feel about Jack Robinson, but I also think he's not done enough wrong to come out of the side at the moment. I also believe it's a 3-game week, so there may be some rotation to come over the next couple of games. But this is a winning team, and they've had a break of 8 days. And I don't see any reason to change the vast majority of this team, if any at all, to be honest. So Jack Robinson stays in, and next to him is the best left-back, certainly the best left-back prospect in the league, Harrison Burrows. Fingers crossed this lad gets to test himself at Premier League level next season, because he's had such a strong season for us, adapting from League One into the Championship seamlessly, really, other than the first few games where he sort of had a couple of issues finding his feet. Since then, he's been very, very good. Into the middle, we're hoping that Vinny Souza's fit, but I'm going Hamza Chowdhury. I thought he did absolutely nothing wrong, deserves to keep his place. I think if Vinny is fit, then he'll come back on the bench. I think that's probably the best case scenario that we can hope for. Hamza, I'm more than comfortable with him keeping the shirt. He plays very well alongside the lad I'm lining him up with, and that's Siddy Peck. Unbelievable performance from Siddy, getting better and better. Throughout the season, he's just got better. You can feel the confidence growing in him. He now can take control of games in the middle of the park. Really good performance from Siddy, and long may it continue. Moving further forward, Ben Brereton Diaz on the right-hand side. I don't think he's been at his free-flowing best since coming back in January, but his outputs have been very good, and he looks more and more comfortable with every game on that right-hand side. You might want to go with Jezrak Saki in this game. Andre Brooks made an appearance against Coventry. Those are options also, but I don't think Ben's done enough to come out of the side, personally. So Ben Brereton Diaz retains his place. Over on the left-hand side, Gustavo Hamer. We can talk about the free kick, but this bloke, what an unbelievable talent he is. And we don't see it as often as we'd like, but if we did, he wouldn't be playing for Sheffield United, would he? So Gustavo Hamer, the game changer, is 100% in our lineup, and we'll get in anybody else's lineup as probably one of the first names, if not the first name on the team sheet in this league. In the number 10, it goes against my judgment and everything in me, but I'm keeping Ryan Brewster in. How can you not keep Ryan Brewster in? I think Callum O'Hare's a better player, and this is just a raw, honest reflection on it. But Ryan Brewster is the man on form at the minute. 2 goals in the last 2 games. I thought he was okay against Sheffield Wednesday, but got the all-important goal. He'd got an assist the game before that as well, we can't forget. And then I thought his performance against Coventry was really, really good. Really good. So I do expect rotation going into the Millwall game after the Oxford test. But Ryan Brewster makes my lineup. And up front, the main boy who put the ball in the Wednesday net the first time, because they've both done it, haven't they? The 10 and this number 9. It's Tyrese flipping Gamble. And we're going unchanged. We're going unchanged with a winning side that absolutely dominated the informed team in the league. And this could backfire. It could have been a one-off performance, but how can you justify taking anybody out of the side? I don't think you can when they've had an 8-game break. The options as well you've got off the bench makes it look really strong. So whilst it's not a team that I would blindly pick if you were just going on a best 11, you cannot dispute what this team gave to us on Friday night. And I'm going with them again. The options we can bring off the bench, as I say, are really strong as well. What I would do is look to, depending on how the game's going, obviously, but I would certainly look to integrate players like Callum O'Hare, like Rob Holding, like Jezran Raksaki and Tom Cannon a little bit earlier if we can, because those players may well need to be involved against Millwall, whether it's from the start or play a significant part from the bench, just to keep those legs fresh in this really tricky run-in. So let me know what you guys think about that team. It may surprise some of you with the team that I've gone with, because you all know how I feel about certain players and individuals in the side, but we're Blades, aren't we? And they are playing so well at the moment. I don't think you can change it. And that was Born to Be Wilder.
Born to be wild.
Tell.
I'm going to let you into a little secret here. I did have to make the Ryan Brewster graphic today, because obviously I have them all all preset as like individual packages. So I've obviously got the whole team. I didn't have a Ryan Brewster one because I've never picked him before. So there you go. That's just the truth. John says, looking forward to going to Oxford, hoping for a repeat performance and hoping for the same team to start, which started against Cov. 0-2 win for Blades. I agree, John. And in terms of the scoreline, I think I agree as well. 2-0 I'm going for. I think that's what I went for in our 3MB predictions way back when. And I'm talking like 4 or 5 games ago, but I stuck with it last night. I had a really enjoyable 3MB last night. If you're a Rambler and you haven't seen it already, give it a watch, because the 2 won me, basically, because I'm making a sensible point and they're just trying to blow me out of the water. But what I was going to say, John, was in terms of keeping the same team, I agree. And just, you know, obviously you've seen that I agree now, but I think that's with a view to we have to rotate on Tuesday. I think at home to Millwall, might even be Kiefer Moore that gets a game. But I think we're going to have to do some rotation with it being a 3-game week. Chris says, evening Ramblers, I wouldn't make any changes for Oxford. I fancy Brewster to score again. I'm going 0-3 Blades. Coventry to just lose to Burnley and Leeds to just beat Luton. We'll see, Chris. We'll see, mate. If they do that, then obviously we're going to have to come from behind out. We will drop to 3rd before we kick off at 3 o'clock, because they're the 12 kickoffs, which me and Jord will be watching. Corinthos Blade, Roy says, unchanged and mix it up after an hour. Yeah, I agree with that. Same team, same score, says Graham. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, going for a 3-1. I think that's what Man Mountain went for. The team clicked on Friday, says Alessandro. Wouldn't make any changes to the starting 11, but I trust Wilder if he does make a change or two. Would love to see Vinny Souza introduced and given minutes and then ready for Burnley. Yeah, absolutely. We've got a bit of time before Burnley, haven't we? So I agree. As long as Vinny's fit and firing for then, I think there's a chance he makes the bench, personally. We won't know till Wilder's presser, and like we always say, we won't even know then, will we? Let's be right. He's not going to let on, nor should he. But we'll see. Neil says, evening, Jimmy. Life just gets better being a Blade. Top of the league for the minute. And the Wendy's looking down the back of the sofa, as usual. As usual. Andy, good evening, mate. Andy, the Burnley fan. Jimmy, in charge. Blades, in charge. Up the Clarets. Swings and roundabouts, pal. You might be in charge come 3 o'clock on Saturday, might you? So I'm not counting anything yet. Evening Ramblers, says Avril. I personally wouldn't mind seeing the same team out for Oxford. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going down that same line, to be honest, Avril. With giving a few run out later in the game, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Matthew says, I would make one change for O'Hare with Brewster, because being a 3-game week next week, you might burn Brewster out. They've had a break of 8 days, though, Matt. That's my point. I think, you know, Callum O'Hare comes in on Tuesday potentially, absolutely buzzing to try and get his place back permanently. And, you know, it's exactly what you want, particularly at this stage of the season. But people vying for places and battling it out. Ray says 7 games to go. We have to play the strongest team, so we have to go for the jugular and play to get every point we can get. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, and so I agree, Ray. The strongest team, it depends what context you mean, because I think the strongest team at the moment is the form team, which is the team that we're putting out. I don't think they're the best 11 players we've got in terms of the positions that we play, but, you know, we shall see, pal. We shall see. Dino says, I agree with you, Jimmy. You can't drop Robbo. He's done nothing wrong. I did say play holding the other week, but if you think on what it's to do with team morale, if you drop the captain for nothing, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, agreed, pal. Agreed. And I wouldn't be surprised. Look, we've said it before, haven't we? Centre halves don't do as much physical work in terms of getting up and down the pitch as other positions potentially. You don't have to be 110% match fit for every game. You very rarely change centre halves during a game for that same reason. I wouldn't be surprised to see him stick with Anel and Robbo all the way through these 3 tight games. It wouldn't surprise me at all, but I would like to see Rob Holding at some stage. I'd be very happy if he came in to start for one of the games. Ray says, exactly. It's not the players, it's the little guys who have bills to pay in support of them. Chansiri out. Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree, Ray. And I want Chansiri in for the appalling decisions he makes for the football club on the pitch. I also want people, you know, there's so many of us that have split families, haven't we? Red and blue families together. So it's, as much as we don't like them as a club, you want to see them do right by the people. Hey up, Jimmy. All the best, bud, says Big Mally. Hey up, pal. Hope you're well. Hope you're feeling okay. I believe Mally's a Leeds boy, isn't he? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you're feeling. Big up, Carl. Stay strong, buddy, says Dukey. All the love, Carl. Love that. And love to Carl, says Avril. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Evening, everyone. Just something I noticed watching a vlog that after the tie goal, a lot of the lads were straight over to Sariki, giving him his dues and building his confidence up. Great to see. Good spot, that, Westwood. I've missed that myself, but that is really good to see. It's a good spot from yourself. And it's what the club's all about at the minute, isn't it? Everybody together. And I think that's what's seen us to the point we're at now, isn't it? I'm not going to say what sees us through because there's still 7 huge games. It's mad, though, because 7 games to go after this game. And look, check me out, Carol Vorderman. There's 6 games to go. 6 games is nothing, is it? 6 games is absolutely nothing. Get 3 points at the weekend, reassess, and just head down and go. Stay strong, Carl. If you ever need a chat, mate, I'm here, says Nige. Thank you, mate. Rossi says, Jimmy, keep up the great work. The Ramble is tops. Love it. Thank you, Rossi. Evening Blade, says Chris. Well said, Jimmy to Carl. This channel is a breath of fresh air. We all have each other's backs. I just love it living on me. Ray, thank you, pal. You're a huge part of the community as well, as you know. Is it too early to sing Leeds are falling apart? Yes, Chris, it is. Look, each to their own, mate. And I have come on here. I have revelled in Leeds' result last weekend. I've tried to temper it a little bit because the further you go, the harder the fall is going to be if it turns around. So however comfortable you are, Chrissy, however comfortable you are in going, if you want to go early, you go, pal, and you enjoy it. But just be ready to take it on chin if it all turns around. So that's your choice, pal. RJH says, Sheffield United, Derby and Borough interested in Regan Slater. I'll be surprised if we're in for Regan Slater, if I'm honest. Love him, Blade, but I'm not convinced. Josh says, I think Burnley will beat us, and that means we need to win at least 5 of the rest. So the next 3, we need 9 points, says Josh. So if Burnley beat us, it's out of our hands, isn't it? Because Leeds could win every game, Josh. So we don't need to win. We need to win. We just need to do our bit, mate. We need to do our bit. I don't think you can say X amount of points at this stage because of how tight it is. X amount of points will do it. So we'll see. Sunderland already losing their stars, says Scotty. Tommy Watson agrees to join Brighton. Saw that. 10 million quid. Cracking signing and a great place to progress. Yeah, it's the next natural step into it for a top-end young championship player going somewhere like Brighton. it's a really clever move. They'll benefit from him for a couple of years, and if he does progress, he'll go on to a top club, won't he? He looks a real prospect, doesn't he, Tom Watson? Dino says, what we reckon bucket collection at the lane next week? Penny for the time. Dear me. Brand the Blade says, evening Jimmy, mental health is a very important topic. I sadly lost my uncle to suicide in the most horrendous way. We were laughing together 2 days before. If you're struggling, please talk, Blades. Very poignant, Brandon. I'm sorry for your loss, pal. Yeah. And if same sentiment that you're expressing to other people, we're always here as well, pal. Always here. Alessandro says, Leeds away in London at 12:30 on Sky, with Luton having picked up more points than them in the last 5. 1-0 Luton incoming, says Alessandro. Look, we don't jinx it, do we? But oh my goodness, can you imagine? Maury says, my team, Cooper, Sariki, Robbo, Anel, Burrows, Peck, Chowdhury, Hamer, Brewster, BBD, and Campbell. Don't change a winning side. My prediction is 2-0 Blades. Rinse and repeat there, Maury. We've gone for exactly the same thing, pal. Love that. Evening Ramblers, says our latest Rambler, Tom. Not going to put forward my own team. The gaffer knows best. Absolutely right, it does, Tom. It's only a bit of fun, to be fair. And look, he's picked completely different teams to me all season, and he's the one that's laughing at the top of the league, isn't he? So he definitely knows best, Tommy. I completely agree. Carl says, I'd be tempted to play Hamer in midfield over Hamza. Just help to unlock their defence, but not against the same winning team. Yeah, I wouldn't change it personally, but and I'd be surprised if he put Hamer in there. He hadn't really liked to put Hamer in there, has he, recently? I'd not have given Brewster a new contract, says Simon, but I'm starting to wonder if he can bring more goals arriving late to the box with his reinvented role in attacking midfield. Seems to think he can. Chris seems to think he can, and he's proving right. Yeah, agreed. Shame on you, James, not having a Rian graphic. I've sorted it now, Ian. I've sorted it, mate. Don't worry. That's there for if I ever need to use it ever again, which I might not. Dublin Blade says, has to be the same team. Don't change a winning side. Going 3-1 Den Blades again with Helic to score. Well, you're preaching to convert on a Helic. People laughed at you. All laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? Imagine if we can get to 95 points before the Burnley game, says Maury. What we are now, 83. So that's so that's to win every game into all 4 of the games before we play Burnley. Could happen, Maury. Could happen. I would temper your expectations. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Chris Wilder thinks he can. Would you agree? Would you agree to a new contract if this form continues? I don't think he's a Premier League player. So if we are going to be a Premier League side, I don't think he makes us a better Premier League side, if that makes sense. I don't think if we're going to progress, we'll progress on the field as well. And I don't think he gets into a much improved side. I don't think Jack Robinson does either, which will be no surprise to anybody watching. But it's not up to me. And as Tom said before, Wilder knows best, or he's earned the right to make the call anyway. So it would not surprise me one jot. And in fact, I'd be surprised now at this stage if Brewster doesn't sign a new deal, no matter what division we're in, because he is playing, or he certainly last time out played very well, and his output's dramatically improved over the last 3 games. Chris says, can't change a winning team if we play anywhere near like we did on Friday. I can't see a team hurting us. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. That's the thing, though, isn't it, Chris? It's keeping to those levels. That performance, similar to the Middlesbrough game, I thought, has shown us what this team is capable of. It's just how often can we get to those levels? How can we sustain it? That's the big question. Brand says, I agree with your lineup, Jimmy. I just can't justify changing the team after Saturday's incredible performance. We've got Vinny to come back too. 2-0 Blades and Leeds to drop points at a resurgent Luton. Ooh. Nipper says, congrats on top spot, Jimmy lad. Thank you, Nipper, the Leeds fan. It's a marathon, not a sprint, pal. Marathon, not a sprint. Ev says, hey up, Jimmy. I think this will be harder than many people are saying. These are fighting for their lives, but I'm still saying 2-0 Blades. Yeah, I watched Just United earlier. Shout out to Ricky, who said something similar like, not going to be easy, these 3-0 Blades. I love the confidence because a team can put up a fight, but still not necessarily be on the same level as us. And you know, that's the league, isn't it? Tom says, if this is a Brewster redemption arc similar to what we got with Vinny, I'll be delighted. The lad deserves it. And yeah, we'd all be chuffed to bits for him, wouldn't we? Absolutely right, pal. Britt says, hi, Jimmy, do you think McAtee would get into our midfield if we went up? I don't think he would. I reckon he'd be an amazing addition, though, up the Blades, up the Ramble. I think, to be honest, Britt, I like James McAtee. I like him as a player. I think he is a luxury player. I think he's a player that enjoys being in a side with possession. I think he'd fit in great into a middle of the road Premier League side. You look at somebody like Dean Henderson, who was amazing for us. He's found a home at Crystal Palace, who aren't the biggest side in the Premier League, but an established Premier League team who do well. And I think James McAtee going somewhere like that would suit him. I don't think we can carry, if we are to be promoted, I don't think we can carry a player like a James McAtee, like a Jezran Raksaki, who I class him as a luxury player because they don't always do. They are very strong in one or two elements of the game rather than grafters in other elements. So I think most of you'll know what I'm talking about. I haven't explained myself very well, but so not for me, Britt, to be honest. I honestly think we could pull away from Leeds and Burnley this weekend, says Matt. I'm going 0-0. Burnley, Leeds 1-1 and United 2-0. How many wins would you say I need out of the 7 games? I'm dreading it. I'm going to say 6. I'm not dreading it. I'm trying to enjoy it, but I cannot just assume they're going to drop points. I think Leeds should be worried. But again, it could all turn this weekend if we don't do the business. Wonder which game to watch Saturday lunchtime, says Ev. West Brom, Sunderland, Cov, Burnley, and Leeds Luton, 3 bangers. I won't be bothered about West Brom, Sunderland. Obviously, we're direct. I mean, it's a good game, don't get me wrong, but we're directly affected by the other 2, aren't we? So it'll be one of the 2. And as I say, I'll be watching one, and Jord will be watching the other on the watch along and behind the Ramble. So come and join us there. Don't want this season to end, says Ev. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well, to be honest, nor do I in a lot of ways. But if you said to me, Jimmy, we're going to end the season today, is that all right? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thanks very much. We can win this league. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Absolutely right, Ben, we can. Hey, would you have Dunn, Anel, Suter, and Holding as our 4 centre-backs? Please like and subscribe. Jimmy Dunn, I would certainly have in the squad. Really like him as a player. I think he's a versatile... you went with Suter. Sorry, I'd read Robbo for some reason. Dunn, Anel, Suter, and Holding. Yes, I would. I would is ultimately my answer. I think that's a really good 4. Dunn can also play right back as well. So you might want another either right back or another centre half to complement that. Neil says not a fan of Brewster, but should start and grab a goal. But please don't celebrate too much and pull something again. But he should be the fittest with 4.5 years training. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Neil. Duke says I stand by what I've been saying for some time. Leeds and United both go up. How and in what order, I don't know, but it will happen. Okay. It's going to be 6 wins and a draw, finish on over 100 points and another title for us. And Wilder says Dublin Blade. Love the confidence. Kylo says Brewster goal or assist against Oxford on the Acker. How things have changed. Yes, absolutely right. I fancy Frank the Fraud's Coventry. Frank the Fraud, Lee. Do you not think he's done a decent job now at Cov? I know they've got a good set of players together, but Mark Robbins weren't getting a tune out of them. Harsh, Frank the Fraud, personally. To get at least a point against Burnley, I've got a sneaking suspicion that could happen as well. I hope so. Anyway, predictions: 3-0 Blades, Campbell 2 and Peck. Coventry 1-1 with Burnley, and Leeds to win 2-0 at Luton will give us a little cushion to 3rd. Would love that, Lee. Would love that, mate. Danny says Pigs have got issues again with non-payment of wages. I know the Prince didn't have money, but at least we didn't have an owner like Chansiri. Need to set up a charity fund to pay the players, pay the staff. Craig says Pigs want to do a watch along, but they need a second participant. Stevie Wonder has been asked. Fingers crossed. Great minds think alike, says Maury. Absolutely right, pal. Alessandro, love it. Dave the Nose. He really knows. Sensible opinion. Do me a favor. It was great fun last night, as always. Looking forward to the next one. That's my little 3MB. Jab into it. You definitely 2-1'd me. You definitely 2-1 me, you and Mountain. I think you planned it beforehand to try and make me look foolish, and then I just scold you both. I got annihilated, to be fair. put back in my box, I suppose. Chris says, watch Brewster go now. Confidence will be sky high and he can do things with the ball that maybe only Hamer can do up the Ramble. Chris, that is the epitome and the prime example of getting carried away. You'll need it another 6 times, says Ian. Getting Brewster in my team. We'll see. We'll see. I think Just Joe has the bingo sponsor too. Right, okay, Skiddy. Not heard of it again until yesterday, but it does look a lot of fun, to be honest. Lee says, team-wise, as usual, I see it the same as you. Great minds, Lee. Great minds. Same team. Brewster and Jackie Longthrow deserve to keep their place. I could see Gilchrist coming in for semi-freaky to solidify the right, but personally, I'd leave it. I would too. Maury says, could happen. I'd be buzzing if it does, but I think we'll drop points in one of the next 4 games. Yeah, I think you look at results on paper and you think, win, should be a win, whatever it might be. Connor famously saying I can't remember whether we're on Ramble or on One Leeds, we're definitely going to win our 4 home games, so that'll be us sorted. And first home game, Swansea, they drop points. And they shouldn't be dropping points to Swansea, let's be right, particularly if you want to go up automatically. So we cannot let up anywhere. And it's been said before in this chat, Oxford have got a lot to play for, so we won't take them lightly. And I think we're at the point of the season where I know it's the manager's rhetoric to always come out and say next game at a time, next game at a time, next game at a time. But I think at this point, even the players can see it as, right, let's just beat Oxford and then we'll focus on Millwall. But let's just concentrate on this weekend first, because you can see the finish line, can't you? You can see it in the distance. Danny says, I keep the same side who played at Coventry. Why upset a winning side? Can see us doing them 2-0 and Leeds draw at Luton. I can see Burnley keeping pace with us until the end. I don't think Leeds are going to do it. Too bad, says Danny Boy. Dublin Blazers, as I said yesterday, Jim, the only thing I'd offer Brewster is the door on his way out to Preston. Some people still have that opinion. Absolutely. I would probably say goodbye to Brewster as well, if I'm honest. But I can't begrudge him his place in the side at the moment. Danny says, if Leeds don't go up, do you think they would feel the financial pinch and would need to sell some players? And would we buy any of them if we went up, Jimmy? Leeds will definitely feel the pinch. That's part of our video series with Connor this week. What does it mean if both sides if they don't get promotion? So we talk about this quite a bit. But yeah, Leeds will be affected. I think Melier looks a really strong. Would we take anybody from Leeds? Look, Leeds have got some great players, but you look at their big hitters, Tanaka, Nonto, who don't get in every week, which is ridiculous. But Dan James even could make an impact for us. I don't know who their right back is, but Solomon isn't their player. They've got good players though, haven't they? And those sort of players go for big money. So it's a no to them, really. Pascal Strout goes, I don't think he's all that, to be honest, but he goes for a lot of money. I think we're going to be priced out of a lot of Leeds players because I think they'll be not overpriced, but I think they'll go for big money if Leeds don't do it, because they might still do it. They're only effectively a point behind us. Graham says, you were brilliant against Cov. Did us, but Campbell, I thought it was super, but in people's faces, Grimes just smiled, to be fair. And his foul on Dovin was shocking. No more on Bassett now. Up the Ramble, play up Sky Blues. Top man, Graham. Hope you well, pal. And best of luck this weekend. Danny says, evening, Jimmy. As you just mentioned, I'm one of those families with split support. All the males are Blades and the wife and daughters are Wendy's, saying that my oldest daughter asked to come watch Coventry Friday night and she even got up cheering the goals and called fouls the ref was giving. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Nice one, Danny. You can work on her. You can definitely work on her. There's no doubt she's going to be wearing red and white before long. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Kev. Top man, Kev. Hope you're well, pal. Simon says, I'm really looking forward to your plans for Rob Kozluk chat. Sounds great if it comes off. But ready for the practical jokes. I don't know how. We've hit a bit of a bump in the road with that. I may have to slightly backtrack on that because he's sort of... we're working on it. It's a work in progress. I might have to come back to you on it. I have got an alternative lined up if it doesn't come off. But bloody hell. Footballers, unbelievable. Keep it Ramble. Ray says, would love David Brooks at the Lane if we go up, but his stock has gone up tenfold recently, so probably a bridge too far price-wise. I agree. Ray. I think it would be a bridge too far in terms of his profile now. But the exciting thing really about where we are as a club, if we're to be promoted, is we don't know the ceiling in terms of the finance. I don't for a minute expect us to go up and be doing what Nottingham Forest did and risking it all and spending 250 million quid. Obviously, it's paying off now, but I don't expect us to do it risk versus reward. But we may, I'm expecting us to have more money to spend than we've had to spend before. So it's going to be really interesting to see where our level is in terms of where we're comfortable spending. Scott says, after such a long time, looking like you have to wear a Leeds top, here comes Wilder to the rescue. And people wonder why he's my hero. I absolutely worship the man. Need to get Connor measured up for these Blades tops. Can be a bit tight. Yeah, that's my excuse too, Scott. These Blades tops are a little bit tight. Long way to go yet, Scott. Long way to go. One of us is going to have to suffer out the end of the season. Matthew says, Wilder for manager of the year. The job he's done has been world class. No other as manager has done or could do what he's done. -2 points, bringing in a new team, 15 players, etc. Can't say enough good things about the man. I cannot say enough good, as you all know. Nick says, Oxford might be fighting for their lives, but we're fighting for automatic. So it'll become down to who wants it most, and we have the advantage on talent in talent on the pitch. Well said, mate. A much better way of framing it than I did. Mine was very pessimistic to say it'll be tough and they'll be fighting for their lives. Look at what we've got to fight for. Well said, pal. Well said. Campbell never touched Dovin. He did it to himself with his attempted Cruyff turn. I haven't seen the replay properly. I've seen it from an angle where it looks innocuous and it doesn't look. But somebody also said to me that if you look at it from the other angle, behind Campbell, I think it is the second angle, then it does look like a foul. So I can't comment on it really, to be fair. I only saw it in real time properly. Academy Appreciation Post 2 says, Avril, how well have they come on in the past few months? All our new signings yet of all the youths proving their worth too. Correct. Well said. The Academy for nurturing them, the scouting system for picking them up before they became real prospects, the manager and the coaching team for integrating them into the side, and obviously the players themselves. Sidney Peck being the absolute standout, but we've had players like Femi Sariki come into the side as well. It's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And when we're Cat 1, we will hopefully. Can you imagine if we're a Premier League side and we Cat 1, having the power to hold on to some of these players? It's brilliant. I put a bet on before the season started, says Sean, for us to finish as champions, up the Blades, up the Ramble. I know a lot of people who are going to do very well financially should Sheffield United get promoted, and especially as champions. Is this going to be a 100-point season for the champions? I think it could be. I think it probably is, Nick. I think it probably is. I also think it's going to be a record points total for third place, which will be so disappointing for one of us. Sai says 1-1 for Leeds and 2-0 Blades and Burnley. Burnley 11 and Coventry 12. Okay. Jimmy, get 3MB on twice a week. Really look forward to it. The banter is simply brilliant. Fit it in, says Ray. We're going to have a little rejig, I think, of some of the content. I was talking to the boys after the stream last night, and I'd like to make it a weekly thing if we could. But again, it depends on their availability. So I've put it out there on the on the show now, David Boy and Man Mountain. But I'd like to make it a thing, and we're considering putting it on the main channel as well, because of I just think it's really good content, and we never plan what we're going to say. We just both tend to rely on Man Mountain to come out with something interesting. And to be fair, I think we were all right last night. Me and Dave normally bounce off whatever Man Mountain wants to talk about, and I thought it were another really good show last night. So yeah, we're thinking about it, and maybe a weekly hot topic instead as a Patreon offer, and a couple of other bits that I've got in mind. We'll see, Ray. We'll see, mate. Daz says, how was your mate Connor feeling yesterday? Not great. I hope Leeds go the way he seems to think they will, but I can't see it. It's Leeds and one other. Really, Daz? Us, if we finally did click on Friday. Okay. I love Pecky Nesta's balls. Pecky Nesta. I mean, through balls down the line over the top of your forward, your eyes have got to light up when he's on the ball. Absolutely right. Borja Sainz would look good in a Blade shirt, Jimmy. Yeah, I think he'd need to play on the right, wouldn't he? He's predominantly left. I know he can play right. He has played there before. But he's a left winger. Does that mean we're thinking of moving Hamer inside a little bit? Possibly. Does it mean we're on about moving Borgia over to the right? If he's a good player and I'd be happy to sign him, but I do think sometimes with signings we've been a little bit go for the quality of player rather than the position that he plays. So we'll see, mate. I'm certainly not complaining if we get Championship top scorer in. Think Cov on 58 could get a result against Burnley due to the 3 behind all on 57, and Luton could upset Leeds as they look like doing a Harry Houdini. I hope you're right, Neil. That'd be class. Would you take Bogle back, says Matthew? No, I wouldn't. I would not. No, thank you. Nope. I'd have Carl Dallow as a backup keeper, says Maury. Yeah, me too. Me too. He'd be respected here. Hey up, Jimmy. Our right back is Bogle. Solomon is on loan from Spurs. I know your right back is Mally, don't worry. I was joking when I said I can't remember it well. Solomon is on loan from Spurs. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he's been linked with Everton, hasn't he? Obviously, I'm sure you'd be interested if you went up as well. Scott says, I'd love to see the look on Bogle's face if Leeds finish the season in third and we're champions. Put his money on the wrong horse. Don't, Scott, that is going to be something that, don't, honestly. Don't. I'm trying to keep a lid on all these things because it could go so wrong for us, pal. Simon, thank you so much for your super chat. Very much appreciated, pal. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. What a top man. Thank you, mate. Evening, Jimmy, says Marcus. Feels like a big weekend ahead. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yep. Marco, Ben Shepherd is on his tipping point once again. Danny Boy says, I'd not want that science bloke, especially with him spitting it. Yeah, I don't like that a bit, to be fair. I think he'd upset the feel-good factor at the Lane. And if I'm honest, give it a week before he's fell out with Wilder and benched. Maybe so. Like, I don't think you can chastise a player forever for one ridiculous decision. I hate spitting and stuff like that. So it's not easy to forgive. But we do have a history of taking characters and turning them round. There's also other characters that we take and we don't turn around. Ravel Morrison is a prime example. We couldn't get a tune out of him, could we really? So there's pros and cons to it, Danny, because he will certainly offer us something on the pitch, but what are you offsetting by getting him in? Maury says, another question, did anyone fall for that post on X about Michael Cooper being injured this morning? I fell for it till I saw the date. No. George tried to get people in chat as well. Unlucky, George. Unlucky. Rough about Cozzy, Jim. I have my question lined up about Uncle Colin. Is he a Blade or just a fan of it? I can still ask him the question, pal. Don't worry. It's a big commitment for him to come on weekly, and I understand it. So, as I said, there's alternative plans in the pipeline if it don't work out. Tim says, I'd take a chance with Josh Sargent at Norwich. I would too. Looks a goal scorer and finisher. He'd improve us. I think he's a really strong player. I think he's one of those that he did a job in Premier League for a little time, but I wouldn't say he's a Premier League level striker, to be talked about in that category as on a permanent basis. But I think he falls in between that gap of too good for the Championship, unproven at Premier League level. And I think those are the sort of players we'll be interested in. Whether we go for him, I'm not entirely sure. Graham says, sorry, mate, he caught him booking minimum. We now have Brad Collins, Armelier. So if we lose to the Howlers on Saturday, I'll be looking long and hard at Campbell if I was you. I'm not going to blame Tyrese Campbell for anything this season, Graham. So I understand your point, but no thanks. I'd go back for that small bone from Southampton for a squad position. Agree, Danny. Very good player. Often goes under the radar. Really like him, Will Smallbone. Big Mally says, sorry, bud, didn't know Bogle had a Blades connection. Mally, I don't know where you've been, mate, but that was a huge story in the summer when he left Sheffield United in the last year of his contract to go to yourselves, our promotion rivals, for more money and what he thought was probably a better shot at promotion. So it will be sweet if we finish above him. I'm not bothered who comes up behind us. I'd quite like Leeds because of the relationship we've got with Connor from a personal point of view. I'd like Leeds to come up because I'd like to continue the content with Connor. But I want to finish above Jayden Bogle. Sheza says, evening, Jim. Like Connor, I think we're done unless, excuse me, hiccups, unless something changes. Any fixtures for the Blades that you worry about? Naturally, all of them you will be. Yeah, I think I could make an argument for being uncomfortable with all the fixtures. Plymouth away even. I think Plymouth away at lunchtime is an awful fixture for anybody because it's a long trip down. Michael Cooper going back to his old club. You don't want to write those sort of stories, even though they're bottom of the league and at the moment we're top. So there's all sorts of little things. Obviously, Burnley is the one that stands out. That's the one that none of us are looking forward to, but nor will Burnley. Burnley will not be looking forward to it either. They're chasing us, so they've got a different mentality going into it. I think they're all going to be tough, aren't they? You showed against Swansea that you cannot take your eye off the ball for a minute. You have to be switched on for every single game, for the full game. So we'll see. Long way to go yet, Shez. Graham says, hopefully we can bounce back at the CBS and do a Sunderland on the Clarets. Oh, let's hope so. They have to go to let goals in sometime, and they wear the Villa kit. We'll be up for it. Favour on the way. I hope so, pal. I hope so. Come on, Frank. Come on, Frank. If the money's available in the summer, bring back Doyle. I'd be well up for that, Scott. Well up for that. But again, you have to question, and this is a chat we had on 3MB last night. Do you want to go for players like Tommy Doyle, who I think it's fair to say isn't an established Premier League player, or do you want to go for a player that definitely improves you? I think Doyle improves the squad. Does he improve the 11? I'm not sure. He might. Yeah, you could say he does, but I don't know. Fair dues. I understand the sentiment. No worries, Mally. Up the Blaze, up the Ramble, like and subscribe, says Will. Kirby says, up the Platinum Ramblers, pal. Thanks for the invite to the WhatsApp group, mate. Thank you for joining. Kirby, our latest Platinum Rambler. Top man. Top man. Thank you for your support, pal. Alessandro says, depends on what the owners invest, but Wilder does well in the free market. So Tyrese Dolan is a smart addition. Then that new data science AI model, Ryan from Vasco da Gama, Vinny can translate for him. I mean, the first three that jumps to mind is Jimmy Dunn for me. Go get Jimmy Dunn. I think is Harry Darling out of contract as well. Bring him along too. Simple pickups that improve the squad depth. Not necessarily Premier League proven players, but again, lower the age. Lower the age? Maybe not. Jim asked on Platinum, are you going to get someone on about the accounts? I'm on stream, pal. I'm on stream. I can look into getting somebody on about the account. Darren Smith is usually the go-to, isn't he? Or Kieran Maguire might be interested in coming on. Have the accounts been released yet? I'm not sure they have. And it's over my head, a lot of that stuff, I'll be honest. But I can, if there's an appetite for it, then I can certainly get somebody on. No problem at all. Timothy says, Pecky's dying for a goal in front of the Kop. Could you imagine the scenes that goal got? If that goal got us promotion, limbs and blood and snot all over the place. It's hard in it, Tim, because those are the sort of things, if that's to be the goal that seals promotion nowadays, and I understand it, and I'll be part of the group because I've got to be responsible and say we can't go on the pitch. We've got to keep things safe. And I stand with the fan advisory board. I'm not on the FAB, but I support them and I want to do what's right for the club. But it's hard not to let your emotions take over you in moments like that. And we all remember, you know, the promotion in League One where everybody's on the pitch at Northampton. It's brilliant. And further back than that, obviously my dad talks about Leicester and all that sort of stuff. So it will be a brilliant moment, Tim, and absolutely brilliant. But look, like we can't get to thinking like that. Will Doyle accept the relegation clause in his contract this time? Good question. Good question. Chris says I'm 55 minutes late for the show. Sorry, Jimmy. Don't be sorry, mate. Catch up anytime. Up the Blades. Any news on the AI signings? AI. Well, Jeff was not in the squad today for the under-21s, so there's some speculation, certainly in the chat anyway, that he might be involved on Saturday. I'm not convinced he will be. Don't know where. Is it Chris, the other guy? Don't know where he is. I agree, mate, says Shez. Plymouth away reeks of a Cooper Howler. I do think you boys will be fine, though. Wilder's got you set up just right going into these tricky fixtures. Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. How do you get in the WhatsApp group? So there's a WhatsApp group for Ramble supporters, which are members on the channel. If you are the second tier or a Patreon follower, there's a Ramblers group, like a Ramblers group, and then there's a Platinum Ramblers group as well. So there's 3 different tiers, essentially. So if you should have access to a private page on YouTube now, being a member. Matt, I don't know what level member you are because it doesn't tell me on here. And that'll determine which group you can get into. But if you're struggling, mate, just drop me a message and we'll sort it. That's the easiest way because you know what I'm like with tech. Another Blades YouTube channel just did a financial accounts video with Smith. Oh, well, there you go then. There you go. Didn't know that, if I'm honest. Yes, accounts have been reported. Darren's just been on another channel. All right, okay. Fair dues. Fair dues. I think that's been a regular thing for a long time. He goes on Sheffield United way to talk about it, and that's fair enough. To be honest, I like to know that we're okay financially, and I will probably get to watch it at some point. I will, but it's a bit over my head, if I'm honest. I just need to know we're all right. So you won't come to Ramble for a proper financial breakdown, would you? Let's be right. Suter or Dunn or both, says Chef Paul. Will Chris play a 3 or a 4 at the back in the Prem? I think he'll go 4 at the back in the Prem, because that's the way a lot of Prem teams are set up now. And if we're looking to become a Premier League side, we want to be not in a similar mould, but you don't want to be different just for the sake. I think we'll stick with a 4. Suter and Dunn for me, because I'd have Suter as a centre half and potentially Dunn as the right back. Can't wait for the running. I disagree with Warno. All right, okay. I've not seen Warno's comment. Martin says, evening, Jim. How are you doing, mate? I'm very well, thank you, Martin. Hope you're well too, pal. Maury says, Platinum Rambler here. Well worth the money. Top man, Maury. Thank you, pal. I've watched it. Good insights. Good stuff. Nice one, Maury. Thank you for that. Right. Okay. That is... Oh, no. We've got one more. Did you see the post about playing at the Lane pre-Bash testimonial? £1,000 going towards a great cause. That's to be honest, I'm glad you've mentioned that, actually. So the Bash is obviously happening, as Alessandro says. What a weekend that has the potential to be, by the way. Carnage. But we'll get to that closer to the time. But yeah, the club are offering the chance for a donation. I think it's the recommended donation. I don't know. I haven't looked into it because I'm potless. But you can get the chance to play on the Bramall Lane pitch the day of the game, and then you also get other benefits, such as going and being part of the director's box for the testimonial itself and things like that. So I'm away, Jimmy. Good luck, fella. Thank you, pal. Just a word to the wise. After the event, we went with the don't change a winning side philosophy rather than play our best available players. Look how that went. Okay. Thank you, Graham. Appreciate that feedback. Dublin Blaze says, I became a Rambler, but instead of walking around Castleford and Bakewell, it's just lads and lasses chatting knowledgeable stuff about them Blades on my have you sold that ticket yet, mate? Maury and Chris? Yeah, because you want to get together and get that ticket sorted out, don't you? If anybody's got an Oxford ticket for Jamie Dumpling, do get in touch with him. Or get in touch with me, and I'll put him in touch with you. And I think that's us now. That's us. That's the end of the comments. Just a reminder as to what we've got coming up on the channel. I've recorded 2 videos with Connor. I think he's just sent me one of them. So I'll get those turned around as quickly as we can. But either tomorrow or Thursday, we'll be hoping to get a view from the mountain, just to get a bit of an idea as to what to expect from Oxford and how United can get the better of them, hopefully. And then it's Friday morning, we think we'll be hot off the presser for Chris Wilder's press conference. As soon as he's finished his presser, we will be live and talking about everything that he's covered and getting you up to date with everything that he's talked about. Then it'll be 90 after 90 after the game on Saturday. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Big weekend coming up. 6 left after this. From next week, there's 6 games left. So can we come out of this weekend top of the league again? Do our bit and we're top. That's all we need to do. Do our bit. And if Leeds and Burnley drop points along the way, all the better. Jimmy, a good independent thing to see the Blades finances over a 10-year period. It's numbers behind the net. All right. Thank you, Neil. Up the Blades. Up there, all the Rambles. Like and subscribe, says Danny. That's a brilliant way to end. So thank you, pal. And thank you to everybody for joining us. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades.